Alright, hey, what's going on there, folks? Earthmaster here checking in. It is March 17th, 2019, 9:17 p.m. here, my time, West Coast time here in California. And taking a look at the earthquake live 3D here. Relatively quiet in the earthquake department here for the most part. No major quakes to report out here on the globe. A couple deeper earthquakes out here just south of the Fiji Islands region here with a 4.5 and a 4.7. Relatively deep, actually pretty deep I should say. 513 kilometers below the surface. Another deep one over here, 4.3, around the Indonesia Islands area. Well, clicked on the wrong one here. There we go. At 405 kilometers, that earthquake there is. So, yep, some deeper earthquake activity returning to the globe here, along with some surface type quakes up here through the northwestern part of the Pacific Ring of Fire. Quite a few fours ongoing over the past couple days up through Japan and over towards the Aleutian Islands, just off of Alaska there. Working its way down here through the west coast, the United States. Shows the most recent earthquake being this 2.0 earthquake. Looks like that's going to be in Northern California somewhere. Right around, well, I'm guessing right around the Bay Area or just north of there. But other than that, it's relatively quiet. I do want to bring up the other map here, the USGS map here. And this here is the one-day magnitude earthquakes. All magnitude earthquakes, I should say. And we're just seeing a little bit of, just a little bit of surface quakes up here near Seattle, kind of in an area where the ongoing slow slip event is going on. Let me go ahead and zoom in. Well, not zoom in. There we go. Yeah, let me zoom in, folks. It's been one heck of a long day, let me tell you. Once again. So yeah, zoom in here towards Seattle area and take a better look here. This area right here is the area where the slow slip event movement is going on for the past couple days. It has been. It has neither increased nor has it declined any. It's pretty much relatively staying the same in the multitudes of tremor that's being picked up. It hasn't really changed all that much, but it's still active. That's the main thing here. These are just small micro earthquakes here, but they're, like I mentioned, they're pretty much right in the area of where the tremor is being observed. These quakes right here, relatively, well, I wouldn't say shallow, but 23 kilometers, 19 kilometers, a couple small microquakes on the surface. Now, once again, this is probably associated with the tremor and the dancing back and forth of the of this specific plate section out here. So, you know, it's we got to take a look at I guess past stuff, you know, because this thing occurs every 15 months. This little tremor detection, little tremor movement, you know, it occurs all year long, but this multitude that we're seeing on the, let me get rid of this map here real quick, sorry folks, on the Cascadia subduction zone here is you know, I can't really say it's abnormal because this is kind of normal. You know, this occurs. There's quite a bit of activity. And this here is the latest updated map of 2 days of activity. Even going back here over the last 6 hours. We'll take a look at that real quick. And you can still see a pretty good cluster of quakes just west of tremor. Just west of Seattle in the same area. It really hasn't changed, hasn't moved, hasn't migrated anywhere. Although there's a couple specks showing up down there in Northern California. Last 3 hours still shows relatively moderate tremor tremor being detected there on the Cascadia subduction zone. But like I said, this occurs every 15 months or so. It could last for about 2 weeks or so. But either way, you know, it's an increased activity, and it's you know, we have to see what happens. I mean, we've had stuff like this happen in the past, and we haven't had any major quakes. But the likelihood of something happening, I don't know. I think the odds are that it does increase just a tad bit. Scientifically, you know, speaking, it why wouldn't it? You know, when you got this type of tremor and plate movement and whatnot, it's bound to affect pressure in other areas. You know, in this case, the Cascadia subduction zone. It could, you never know. It could trigger something, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. I don't like to use that word too often, but then again, I don't want to fearmonger, but you know, the possibility is always there whenever we see this type of activity in this area here. Could it affect an area to the south, like say the San Andreas fault system? Absolutely. I mean, even though it's not, well, you know, it is basically part of that whole system here, this whole plate section. Let's bring up this other map here real quick. It's been a long day. All I know is I'm lucky I'm staying awake this late right now. It's just it's been a crazy day, let me tell you. Again, so we got the San Andreas fault section that runs, of course, down through San Francisco, San Jose. This solid red line indicating the fault itself. Kind of, you know, kind of ends up here towards the north here. You got the Cascadia subduction zone underneath the land mass here, where the Juan de Fuca plate is subducting underneath the North American plate, with the Gorda escarpment over here to the west, and of course the Pacific plate having a big role in that as well, just over here further to the west. There was a little earthquake out here, 3.1, way out there, kind of towards the well, it's more or less on the Pacific plate section over there, but other than that, relatively quiet out there in the ocean region. But the San Andreas fault system, yeah, it's definitely connected, even though it ends up here, you know, according to scientists and geologists and whatnot. But either way, pressure up here to the north, yeah, it could, or subducting up here to the north, or pressure coming over here from the west, yeah, it ultimately could affect the San Andreas fault system that runs over here. So, you know, you just got to think logically that everything is more or less connected. So any type of movement, plate movement and whatnot, bouncing back and forth, could ultimately affect other areas as well. Right now, California, little bit of activity. That 2.1, I believe, is what I mentioned there a little bit ago, occurring up near the geysers, or 2.0 I should say, up here just south of Clear Lake, California, north of San Francisco Bay Area. This area very active when it comes to geothermal type activity, and that's very, very common. The rest of California, pretty gosh darn quiet. Yeah, even down here in the south, little small speck of an earthquake right there, 1.2 near Santa Ana, but you know, no swarms, no major areas to watch, I guess. But you know, we're keeping an eye on it, and we'll see what happens. Go ahead and bring back the tremor map. Once again, like I said, this is the most updated information on the hourly tremor map here, with the last 48 hours of activity showing. don't have to point it out, but the cluster, the activity, the area of interest right now is, well, west of Seattle. And it's continuing, folks, so I will continue to leave this live stream up during this period of increased activity up there in the Cascadia subduction zone. Like I say, it's tremor, folks. It's not earthquakes, but more or less, well, I guess it's a slow earthquake is what the geologists and whatnot tend to state. So we'll go ahead and bring this back over here to size. And yeah, so the live stream is up and running, folks. If you are watching the updated video, you know, like I say, there's not a whole lot of earthquake activity, folks, right now. There's no major quakes going on. You know, even, you know, there's a little pretty good cluster of quakes down there south of Mexico, but a bunch of threes and whatnot. The only thing that, you know, to point out is the return of the deep earthquakes out here along the Pacific Ring of Fire. And we'll see what plays out over the next couple days here. In the meantime, I don't think I missed anything. I know it was just kind of a boring, quick update, but there's just not a whole lot to report at this moment, which, you know, I guess is kind of a good thing, right? Because any major quake out there is going to cause damage for the most part wherever it's at. In the meantime, it's Sunday night, work week tomorrow, right? Monday, the dreaded Monday for most people out here. And we'll continue. Life goes on. We've got to get through Monday. And then we'll look forward to the weekend once again. Seismograph stations are pretty quiet out here as well, folks. Just not a whole lot of activity. The Washington station up here where the tremor is being picked up on the surface shows still pretty spiky activity. That's a station that's coming up right here on the scroll. Washington station right there, USA. See these little spikes right here. Still, I'm pretty sure there's still micro earthquakes. They come and go, but you know, there's not a whole lot of updating from any type of agency when it comes to letting us know if these are earthquakes or not. Bigger one just came in right there to the screen. You'll see it scroll around here in a second. Kind of squashed the other ones that were kind of big, but now we got a little bit larger quake showing up on this graph right here. Most updated info coming in shows just a little bit larger of a quake compared to these other ones. But we'll keep an eye on it. I will continue to keep these live seismograph stations up here. And the most recent updated hourly tremor map up here in the top, along with, of course, the earthquake 3D globe spinning around in darkness right there to the right side of the screen. So yeah, peace out, folks. Have a good night. You know, stay safe out there, and we'll catch you folks tomorrow sometime.